Now that we understand how to add text into labels by using buttons and text fields, and we're now going to take it that one step further and talk about a function that's not revolving around any objects, that's purely to do with coding, and that is if statements. Now what basically an if statement is if something is happening, do this, or else if this is happening, do this. So it's basically saying, if the app is doing this, do something else basically. Or if the app is doing this, then you should be doing this. Or we can, anything like that. So what we're simply going to do is have our text field here, and we're going to implement text and then press done on our keyboard, and then it's going to display the text within our label. We're then going to have an additional button and label. So once we've entered the text, we're going to press our new button, and if our label equals a certain text, then a certain other piece of text will display in our second label. Now this may sound very confusing, but it's quite simple to understand. So first we're going to want to do is add a button and a label into our interface. So already, as you can see, I've got my text field and label set up from our previous lecture on displaying text in text fields using UI text fields. So here's my button I'm going to place in. I'm going to simply name it if button, and then I'm simply going to add my label also into the interface, and I'll place that out quite nicely. I'll center the text so it looks similar to the rest of the application. And now I'm going to bring up the assistant editor. I'm going to drag my new button as an action, making sure it's selected action, and I'll simply name it if button and remove the sender, and connect that, and do the same with my label. Now as we got two labels, I need to name this one differently, and I'll simply name this label 2. So it's easy enough to understand. So now if I go back to my standard editor and then jump into my view controller.m, and I'll just space this out now so you can see, because there's quite a bit of code to type out. So what we're going to do then, so once our text has been displayed from our text field in our first label, then when we press our second button, what's going to happen is, so we simply type out if and press enter for our statement here. So basically we do a bracket and we do label dot text. So if label dot text is equal to string, that symbol quotation mark, and that very bracket there. So if our label.text is equal to the string of, say, hello, and then in our open parentheses here and our close parentheses, the brackets here, the statements. So if it equals hello, then it's gonna have our label 2.text to equal that symbol quotation mark. We're going to have this equal to simply hey, and that with a semicolon. So just to go over that once more, so if our first label is equal to the string, which we created strings before to display text, hello, then our label 2.text is going to equal hey. So if we test that out now, okay, now it's loaded up, I'm going to simply type out hello. Press done to display our text on our first label. So now we've got our if button. So like I said before, if our first label equals hello, so we press it, our second label will equal hey. Now if I jump back into Xcode, so now what is going to happen if our string doesn't equal hello? Well, there's two ways we can do this. We can have it else if expression, so else if, and if I copy these two brackets, a bracket here in our expression, so else if label.text is equal, and do open parentheses and press enter. So remember to space this out so you can see. So label.text, if it's equal to hello, label2.text equals hey, else if label2.text equals, let's say, the number 1, And then our label, if I copy it, this line here, our label.text will equal 2. So if it equals hello, it will display hey. If it equals 1, it will display 2. And we can do a second one, our second like kind of statement, else, bracket, press enter. So else, if I put in my code here, label 2 will equal no equals. So basically what's going to happen now, so like I said before, if it equals hello, it will display hey. Else if it equals 1, it will display 2. Else if it doesn't equal any of those two strings, it will display no equals. That may be a little confusing to understand, and it kind of is a bit mind-boggling, but if I go to build and run now and show you on the simulator exactly what I mean, then you may understand it just a little bit better. But with these if statements come great possibilities. We can do a lot with these. So okay, before we had hello, so if it equals hello, displays hey. If it equals 1, let me just place that in, 1, it displays 2. Else, if it doesn't equal hello or 1, so if I just put a load of gobbledygook in there and press the if button, it displays no equals. And again, I can change it back to hello. Press done, if button, and equals hey. So as I jump back into Xcode right now, so like I said before, we can have stuff in our application. If a certain feature in our app, or if our app is equal in a certain state, it can do something else. Else, if it's not equal in that state, it can do, again, something else. Else, if it's not equal in any state that we have set, we can get it to do completely something else altogether, which you have at the bottom here. So we can have it to do something, else if something else is happening, do this, else if nothing's happening, do this. So that's a simple way of understanding how to use if statements, and this can unlock a lot of possibilities. And it's very useful for when you're doing game development, or stuff like if you're trying to detect the internet connection of an app. So if the internet connection is detected, the application can load and do this. Else, if there's no internet connection detected, the user is given a warning message to say please connect to an internet connection, stuff like that. So there's a lot of things if statements can be used, and it's a great function that doesn't revolve around using objects. Well, it does revolve around using objects, but it's more coding that it revolves around.